So when the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, similar to this, Allah's pleasure is in the pleasure of the walid. Allah's pleasure is the pleasure of the father. And Allah's anger is in the anger of the father. So if my father is angry with me, my kafir father, then Allah is angry with me. Is that only for the father? No, it includes the mother. Although the word, we're gonna have to get the little kids under control because I really can't concentrate with that kind of noise. Maybe we could take them outside or something like that. Normally we would just let them run around in a big masjid, but they competing with us with the noise. May Allah bless them. Oh, Allah bless these kids at this young age who are in the masjid. Barakallahu feekum. But if you got to take the little baby outside and stuff, then everybody's staying. It's no problem. If you got to take the little baby outside, no problem. But let's work with them. Somebody help the brother out. Don't go out with the little baby. So that principle is important. I don't want to spend much time on the principle, but I want you to understand. Women have to, in the Hanafi madhab, Al-Imam Abu Hanifa, one of the greatest imams of Islam. No scholar like him today. No scholar. And his madhab is a bona fide madhab. But people from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and these places like that, in that madhab, there are some things that are not from the sunnah. For an example, they would tell the Muslim woman, when you pray and you make sajda, you have to bring yourself in. And you have to put yourself on the ground and put your elbows and bring yourself in, because the woman should be covered. The Prophet said, pray as you see me praying. That is applicable to the men and the women. The way the Prophet prayed, the woman prays like that from A to Z. Unless there's another proof. For an example, when the Imam leads us in Salat, he stands in the front. When the woman leads women in Salat, she stands in the row with the women in the middle. If the Imam makes a mistake reciting the Quran in the Salat, the men say Subhanallah, or they correct him. The women, they clap. If someone gives a speech in the prayer, if you have a child, one boy, you slaughter 2 sheep for him, the girl 1. If someone dies, the boy gets 2 portions to the girl's 1. So they're different because of the dalil. Other than that, she has to fast like him. When you make umrah and things like that, everything Allah told the men, the women have to do unless there's a dalil. The woman can't travel without a mahram, but a man can. So I think you guys get the point. So Allah, I seek refuge in you from a wife or a husband who makes me gray before my time. You know, our marriages, as Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in many ayahs of the Quran, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Allah has made between you from his signs, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ. From his signs, he made for you mates, wives from yourselves, and he put between you rahmah and love. Not hatred, animosity, despising one another. Allah described the man and the woman, the husband and the wife, and he said, "Antum libasun lahunna wa hunna libasun lakum." You men are covering for your wives, and your wives are covering for you. So everything your clothes do for you, your wife should do the same thing. Your clothes beautify you. Your clothes warm you up. Your clothes cover up your aura. You're not walking out here naked because your wife is taking care of you. You don't have to look for other women and so forth and so on. Your clothes warm you up. Your wife should warm you up. Warm you up with support, with loving words, with understanding, with education, with protection. But the way most marriages are today is it's war. It's war for many reasons. So this dua, don't wait until you start having drama from your mate. I'm looking at the brothers here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All of us have marriages that are challenging. All of us. But the Prophet told us, "Ad-dunya mata' wa khayru mata'iha al-mar'atu salihah." The dunya is nothing but provisions. What do you own? Your clothes, your car, your socks, your shoes, this, that. He said, and the best provision to have is a righteous wife. And for the sisters, I got to mention this. If I would ask you in Islam, who's the best woman? What the Prophet say, the best woman? He said a few things. He said the best women are the women of Quraysh, because they have a lot of mercy for their children and they appreciate how much money their husbands have. They're aware of his financial abilities. She's not trying to keep up with the Joneses. She's not trying to overwork him. I want this, I want that. That doesn't mean he should be stingy and a bum, but she shouldn't work him into the grave. She shouldn't work him into the grave. He said the best wife is the one, when you look at her, she pleases you. When you tell her to do something, she listens to you. She obeys you. She listens to you. But we don't want to weaponize the religion. Everything is the haqq of the husband, haqq of the husband, haqq. No. That hadith is also applying to what he said about the women. The best of you is the one who's best to your wife, and I'm the best to my wife. When he heard that the people were hitting their wives, he said, I have news that some of you are hitting your wives. You are not the best of us. You are not the best of us. Can't talk to them with loving terms. Honey, sweetie, little mama. Yes, it's going to happen. Supporting her. No. So it is a contract that we went through. And this hadith is talking about that. Seek refuge in Allah, divine protection in your relationship. And if you have a good relationship of understanding and trust and all of that, you should make sajda to shukr to Allah. Wallahi, sajda to shukr to Allah. Now I got to say this, because I have to pay homage and thank Allah for this ni'mah, as he said in the Quran. وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. Surah Al-Duha, وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى. Allah said, talk about the favors that Allah put upon you. Talk about the favors. Allah guided me to Islam. Allah guided me to Salafiyah. Allah gave me an intellect where I can use my brain. Am I the sharpest tool in the shed? No, but I'm not the dullest neither. You're not going to come and tell me about my friend and tell me the sheikh said, and I'm supposed to follow that? You crazy? You lost your mind, man. You better go look for your mind somewhere. But this is the point. I told the brothers, I want to go to the ocean. I want to go to the ocean. I love the ocean. They took me to the ocean over there by the airport. I was like, wow, man, this is beautiful. I love the ocean. So I took out my phone and I wrote in the sand with a rock, Abu, with a heart, loves Kay, my wife. So I went to take a picture of it and the water came and wiped it away. I said, Dad. I was like, Dad. Because I knew my wife was going to like that. And I said, we got to get out of here. We got to come to the talk. I called my wife and I told her about it. I said, but the water took it away. She said, well, it's the thought that counts. Oh, that was nice. This thought. So that brings me to this point, and I got to move on because I don't want you brothers to misunderstand. And there's a problem that some of us have. I'm telling you, we take ayat and things and we hear it and we misunderstand it and we practice it in a way where we destroy relationships, marriages, communities. Our community was destroyed in America, East Orange, New Jersey. It was destroyed with this, the sheikh said, he's this, he's that. Because we take things out of context. Listen to this hadith. Prophet Muhammad says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I don't think this hadith is new on some of you. ثلاثة يدعون الله فلن يستجاب لهم. There are three people who will make dua to Allah, and Allah will never, ever, ever answer their dua. One of those people, he said, رجل كان تحت امرأة سيئة الخلق فلم يطلقها. A man who's married to a woman who has bad character and he won't divorce her. That's an authentic hadith. Fact check that joint if you don't believe me. A man married to a woman and he won't divorce her. Now, one of us gets upset over something that our wife does and we think that hadith is telling us to divorce our wife. That is not talking about my wife, not talking about your wife. My wife does things that get on my last nerve, get on my central nervous system. But that hadith ain't talking about my wife. Our wives, your husbands, we're not perfect. How I'm going to take that hadith and apply it to my wife? That hadith is talking about the wife who, she is straight up going out, dipping out on her husband. She's doing all kind of craziness. I mean, he can't trust her. It's just a bad, toxic relationship. And she stays with him because she has weak iman. She doesn't know who Allah is. Tawheed is not kalam. Tawheed is you not being afraid of anybody but Allah. Not being afraid what people say about you. What kind of stuff is that? I remember being a kid, we learned in the playground, sticks and stones may break my bones. That stuff is corny, but it's real. Names will never hurt me. Names will never hurt me. So this hadith goes with this hadith. A man is married to a woman, or a woman is married to a man, and it is toxic. He's going to kill her. She's going to kill him. They're going to kill the children, kill the spirit. Grow up Muslim children who are terrors on society because they messed up. And that's why Allah has legislated divorce. I'm not encouraging you to get divorced. No. What I'm saying to you is, if you're in one of those really bad relationships, this dude is breaking your jaw, breaking your ribs. And I tell the brothers all the time, I think that the brothers generally, especially with African Americans, Africans, Jamaicans from the Caribbean, we are a bigger fitna for our women than they are for us. Usually we're bringing more drama to the table. Usually. But there's that woman and that husband, you shouldn't be with them. Something's wrong with you. You need to see a psychiatrist or a therapist to be with that person because that person is death for you. So you make dua to Allah to protect you from that. We go to the third one, and this one is similar to the first one. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from a child that becomes a lord over me. What's the meaning of that hadith? In the hadith of Jibril, when Jibril came and said, Ya Muhammad, tell me what is Islam? He told him the 5 pillars. What is Iman? He told him the 6 pillars. When is Yawm al-Qiyamah? He said the one who's asking knows just as much as the one who's being asked. Then tell me about the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah. He says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and tara al-ama, and tara al-ama, and tara and talidul ama rabbataha, that you will find the slave girl giving birth to her master. What's the meaning of that? One of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah is that the slave girl will give birth to her master. One of the meanings of that is the parent will become the child, and the child will become the parent. Oh man, I forgot T was over here. Let her do the best that she can. We got to keep it moving. Do the best that you can. If I don't get it, T, do the best that you can. Because when you hear later on, the day of judgment, I'll remember. Anytime I start doing that, do like that. And then I'll remember. I'll be kidding. Even people be saying to me, they're new Muslims, and they'll say, why you use Arabic words? You don't explain them all the time. Because I'm giving a khutbah, man. You got to listen to the context. I can't always, if I say that's, anyway, let's keep going. Sorry about that, Tony. Listen to this, guys. This is really important, man. This is so critical. Prophet Muhammad called the days that we're living in right now as sinawat khada'at, the years of deceit. What you see is not what you get. You got to be careful with what you hear. Everything that comes to you on the internet, they send it to you and you send it out right away. And it was generated by artificial intelligence. They'll have the guy talking and he's just moving his mouth and it's not really his voice. I saw a thing recently with Morgan Freeman, the actor. He was talking and he was saying all this slick stuff. It wasn't even him. They was moving his mouth. I saw one 3 days ago of a Chinese dude speaking Arabic in 4 dialects of slang. And if you look at it, the dude looks like he's really talking, but that's generated by a computer. It's not real. A Dajjal is coming out and he's preparing the terrain. Everything is a lie. CNN is a lie. BET, all that's lying. Your friend is a liar. Your sheikh, your imam. It's just lies. And that's why Islam gave us a way to test people. Islam told us, look what the Prophet said. He says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in an authentic hadith, Man haddatha bi kulli ma sami'a kafa bihi kadhiba. Anyone who talks about everything he hears, that's enough to make him a liar. What's the meaning of that? Since you woke up this morning, you heard a lot of things. Some of what you heard was true. Some of what you heard was not true. If you talk about everything you heard, you're a liar. Because you spoke about something by default is not going to be true. So the Muslim listens and he weighs it. He just doesn't hear it and then say it, hear it and then believe it. إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا. If someone comes to you with some news, then ascertain as to its validity. Everything we hear, we pass it. Text message, I send it on. Nah, man, you got to look at that text message. Is this correct for me to send out Islamically? The imagery, the language, the theme of this text message. Would Allah religiously be pleased with me? It made me laugh. It was funny. It was funny. The gorilla, so they had a gorilla talking to another gorilla in street vernacular. It was funny what the gorilla is saying to the girl gorilla in human voice. It's funny. But should I send that out? And when I send it out, the next person send it out, and I'm responsible for that? So listen, I seek refuge in Allah from a child that becomes my Lord. I don't know about you guys, but I got a few children from Generation Z. This generation right now of children, this generation. You know, we talk about white privilege. Some white people believe they have this privilege over us. I don't believe in white privilege, and I don't believe in child privilege neither. What is child privilege? My wife will cook dinner for my kids, put the plates on the table, put the food on the plates, call everybody down and come to eat. And after they finish eating, none of them would say, thank you, Ma, Jazakillahu khairan, Ma. And they will get up and not wash their stuff if I'm not there. They will call her from up in the room. Is the food done? That's the children we're dealing with today. And if you have the children from a lady you divorce, if you get sick, your child won't even call you. Your child is more loyal to his or her friend than they are to you and your wife or their siblings. This is what we have today, Generation Z. And I say this to you all. If you have a child that when it's time for salat, they make wudu, get off a PlayStation, off the computer, off a TV, off the phone, and they go and make salat, and then go back to what they're doing, you should make sajda to shukr. Because that ain't the norm. That's not the norm with our children. The mother's a single mother. She's a single mother with 5 kids. The oldest one wants a pair of Michael Jordans for 350 pounds. And there are 4 other children after him and behind him. Mother don't give him those shoes, those sneakers, it's going to be a problem. When I was going to school, the white people, not black people, white people, if the white kid got in trouble, the mother would say, Johnny, go get in timeout, Johnny. Go get in timeout. Now Johnny be like, hey, Ma, you go get in timeout, Ma. You go to timeout right now. That's what we're living in right now. And I know by Allah being my witness, there are people who experience this. Children who are a problem. Mother does everything for that child. And then the child grows up and becomes disrespectful, disobedient. So in that ayat that we read about the jar, about the neighbor, the ayat said, Wa'budullah wa la tushriku bihi shay'a. Worship Allah, don't make shirk. Wa bil walidaini ihsana. And give your parents ihsan. The rights of the parent is always with the right of Allah. The hadith said, you won't give Allah his rights till you give your parents their rights. So as a husband, I know that hadith, the wife won't give Allah his rights till she gives her husband his rights. Is that hadith? Okay, and I want that. But what about that hadith? I won't give Allah his rights until I give my mother and my father's rights. I forget that one. So we ask Allah Ta'ala to save our children from what's out here, guys. And I'm not here blasting and putting our babies down. I'm telling you something. I tell you for free about our babies. The Prophet of Islam told us about the time we're living in. These are years of deceit. The Dajjal is coming. He said about this time, there is no year except that the year that follows it is worse. So every time a new year comes, it gets worse and worse and worse until you meet your Lord. And when people meet Allah, Yawm al-Qiyamah will come, no one will be on the face of the earth saying, Allah, Allah. That's how bad it's gonna get. So one of the meanings and understandings for us as parents is to know our children are living in a time, it's the worst time to be a kid. This is the worst time to be 15 years old, 16, 20, 25. This is the worst time to be a teenager. So if you got those kids like me, 14, 15, 16, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah with these 16-year-olds. When I was a kid, 5 years old, I would leave the projects with my friends and we would walk to the school that was about 6 big blocks away. Traffic lights, cars and everything. But my mom said, let us go by ourselves. I won't let my kid walk by themselves to school. Today, so somebody kidnapped my babies, car run over my baby. When I was a little kid, 6, 7, 8 years old, we were jumping from one roof to the next roof, 5-story buildings to test our courage. If I heard my kid even thought about something like that, I'ma crack his head open. It's too dangerous. But the time we're living back then, and these kids now, the drugs they got for these kids now, the movies they got for these kids now, the music they got. You know, when I was young, you know who I used to like? I ain't gonna lie to you. I used to like Diana Ross. Now these kids like Cardi B. Look at the difference between the two. Diana Ross is a kafir. I ain't telling you to go back and listen to Motown music. Get the point. I ain't telling you to go listen to music. I'm talking about the difference of the time. The difference of the time. So may Allah Ta'ala protect us and help us with these kids, man. And I want to say to the brothers again, and I'm not like some of these du'at. I ain't no agony aunt, and I ain't trying to talk to please the honeys. I ain't as corny. I'm going to say the truth. As men, as Allah said, "Ar-rijalu qawwamun 'ala nisa." Men are responsible for the women. When we get our stuff together, by default, Allah Azza Jal get our women together. We have to make more money than women. We have to have careers better than our wives. We have to be the jet setters. We have to. And then from that whole dynamic are these problems and these issues with our babies. But anyway, that's the meaning of that hadith. There's more, but I got to get on. Number four. I seek refuge in you from money that is punishment for me. That can be punishment in the dunya or in the akhirah. In the akhirah, punishment because the hadith, من كانت الدنيا أكبر همه جعل الله فقره بين عينيه ولم يأتيه إلا ما كتب الله تعالى له. Anyone who the most important thing to him is the dunya. It's the most important. I got to get money. I got to go to work. I got to money. If that's the most important thing to you, Allah said, Prophet Muhammad said, Allah will put poverty between your two eyes. And nothing's going to come to you from the dunya except what Allah wrote for you. When you're in your mother's womb, the angel is sent and he's told to write down 4 things. How long you're going to live, whether or not you're going to be in the hellfire or Jannah, how much money you're going to make, and whether you're going to be happy or sad, wretched in your life. And no money is going to pass you by. Not one pence is going to pass you by. So somebody ripped you off for some money, that money coming back to you. So Allah, I seek refuge in money that punishes me, Yom Al-Qiyamah, the way I got it. I stole it, I lied, I sold drugs, I usurped someone's rights. I was a man who was strong and I took welfare instead of going out to work. I married the woman and let her take care of me, like a day youth, like the pimp. And it also means in the dunya, I'm like that dog who's just chasing his tail. I gotta get money. So he works all day. The hadith said, Inna li rabbika lika haqqa, wa inna li ahlika lika haqqa, wa inna li jarika lika haqqa, wa inna li nafsika lika haqqa, fa'ati kulli dhi haqqin haqqahu. Your Lord has rights over you. Your wife and family have rights over you. Your neighbor has rights over you. And your body has rights over you. Give everybody their rights. Go to the masjid and pray and do Jummah and fast and go Umrah and Hajj and wear hijab and make the dhikr and read the Quran. Give Allah his rights. But don't stay in the masjid for 3 months. Don't stay in the masjid for 3 months. Traveling here and there, stay in the masjid for 3 months. Or going in the corner talking about Allah. And the world is passing you by. Because you in a masjid giving Allah his rights. Fasting all day. You fast all day, every day. But you don't, no, you gotta take care of your wife, her needs, your family. And then you have the person who's not balanced with the wife and the kids. Everything the wife wants, everything is there for his kids, and that's good. But he doesn't teach them Islam. He doesn't give Allah his rights. The one who works all the time and he doesn't sleep. He sleeps 2-3 hours a day. You'll be able to do that for 2 or 3 years. Adrenaline have you doing that 2 or 3 years, 4 years, but your body is gonna shut down. You're gonna get high blood pressure. You're gonna die, and you killed yourself. And the Quran said, "La taqtulu anfusakum, inna Allah kana bikum rahima." Don't kill yourselves. Allah was forever merciful to you. Don't commit suicide, nor eat bad, nor deprive yourself of rest and sleep. And I got to take this opportunity out and thank my brother Sparky here, Abdul Hakim, who asked me to come to Jamaica to give dawah. I said, Jamaica? He said, Jamaica. I said, where the water is and stuff like that, and them beautiful black people, and I can rest and give dawah? He said, that's what you can do. I said, man, let's make it happen. And here I am, getting some rest and relaxation. I seek refuge in you in money, a job. I got a job, man. Them cats stressing me out, man. In America, I don't know what it is here, but you know, the work in the post office is a nice job. But every few years, somebody snap at the post office and blast everybody up in the spot because they run you mad. They make you crazy. You want to be a police officer in America? That's why them police, which they're, in my opinion, an unleashed armed military band of thugs on African Americans. One of the reasons they kill us and shoot us like that, that job makes you crazy. That last cat that got beat up, I heard he was a Muslim, Tyree, something like that. There were black people who beat that man up. That job makes you crazy, man. So some people got jobs that are not good for you. They're not good for you. Get out of that job. That's what the Prophet made dua for. Last one I want to mention, guys, is I seek refuge in Allah, or Allah, I seek refuge in you from a friend. His eyes look at me and his heart despises me. If he sees good from me, he buries it, doesn't acknowledge it. If he sees evil, he talks about it. Yesterday we talked about the fiqh of brotherhood. You got to know how to be a brother to people. We talked about that last night. You have to learn how to choose friends. I'm gonna tell you guys something, and it's kind of like a rude awakening for you. The vast majority who you consider to be your friend, they are not your friends. Those people who you think are your friends, they're not your friends. They're not your friends. You better pay attention to who you calling your homie, your rollie, your partner. You better pay attention. Yes, that's right. They are not your friends. Allah said in the Quran about the friends. Listen to this. Khalil is plural. Akhilla, Khalil is one. Akhilla is plural. Allah said, الأخلاء يومئذ بعضهم لبعض عدو إلا المتقين. Yawm al-Qiyamah, the friends are going to be enemies to one another, except those who have taqwa. The friend is going to be your enemy Yawm al-Qiyamah. Yawm al-Qiyamah, the day of judgment. Yawm al-Qiyamah is the day of judgment, sister. Got everybody over here doing this, and I wonder, what's wrong with them? I was like, what's wrong with these guys? I totally forgot, I told you. The friends are going to be enemies, Yawm al-Qiyamah. Why are they going to be enemies? Because your friend is going to say, Yawm al-Qiyamah, she's going to say to you, why didn't you stop me from saying that? Why didn't you stop me when you knew I was doing that? Why did we chew the cud and we was just backbiting? Why didn't you advise me the importance of this and that and this and that? So they'll come Yawm al-Qiyamah trying to sacrifice each other. يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه لكل امرئ منهم يومئذ شأن يغنيه. On that day, the human being is going to run away from his brother. He'll run away from his mother and his father. He'll run away from his wife. He'll run away from everybody. On that day, everybody is going to have his own problem. And he's going to say, as the Quran said, nafsi, nafsi. I got my own problems. Not only that, the kid is going to say, Ya Allah, this is my mother. She didn't teach me. This is my dad. He didn't teach me. And they're going to be trying to sacrifice each other. That's what your friend is going to do Yawm al-Qiyamah. Yeah, it's a big problem. Prophet Muhammad said about the friend, Al-mar'u ala deen khalilihi, falyanzur ahdukum liman yukhalil. The man is on the religion of his friend, so that each and every one of you pay attention to who you choose as a friend. And the khilaf of Umar was a khalifa. A man came when he was in a masjid. He said, Ya Amir al-Mu'minin Umar, you see that man over there? Put him in your office. Let him work for you. Let him be something in your cabinet. He's a good man. Umar said, do you know him? He said, yeah, I know him. He's a good man. He said, did you travel with him? He said, no. Did you do business with him? Borrow money, give him money, worked with him? No. Did you eat with him? No. Did you sleep with him? Sleep with him ain't no LGBT stuff here. This is talking about like if you travel together and you slept in the same room, when the cat is sleeping, he'll start talking in his sleep. Subconsciously, stuff can come out from his secrets. And you can hear him saying things that he did or he wants to do. And you hear, wow, he's into that. The man no, I didn't do it. To know who people really are. Because traveling in Arabic is called safar. And the one who's traveled is musafir. Safara means to expose. That's why it's called safar. A woman who doesn't wear hijab and she's showing her mahasin, her beauty, that is safur, to expose herself. So why is traveling called safar? Because it exposes the reality of you, man. You go to Hajj, Umrah, you sleep deprived, and you're doing, man, at Hajj. And the people here, she come out of her mouth with curse words. You tell her, I'll punch you in your face right now, knock you out, right on the bus, and all the people, you're gonna knock his wife out? He's not really gonna knock her out, but that's the language, he's upset. That's what traveling really does. That's why when you guys go to Hajj and Umrah with your wife, it's gonna tell the reality of your relationship. It's gonna tell. I saw with my own eyes in Medina. There's a door called Bab al-Salam. It's the door on the left side of the Haram. If you're facing the Qibla, it's on the right side. Bab al-Salam. If you go in that door, the first row is close to that door. That's where most of the students and people meet. It's a famous place to meet. You can meet other doors. There was a brother, he was a karate expert teaching people karate. His wife was a karate expert teaching people karate. When we were students, it was back in the 90s, they had an argument at Bab al-Salam. That sister kicked that brother right there in public in front of everybody. I was so embarrassed to be an American. Like, I was like, whoa. I just got in the wind. Because she was upset, he was upset, and she kicked him high. Who does that? And she had hijab on, jilbab, all of that. I'm not blaming her sister. I don't know what happened, but a safaru, that's what came out. So as it relates to your friend, you want that friend who, when you're hungry, they're hungry. When you're happy, they're happy. When you get married and they hear you get married, two sisters haven't been married for a minute, and they were in bad marriages. One of them is about to get married. When her other friend hears she's about to get married, she's happy. It's like, man, both of us getting married. When it rains, we all get wet. That's her minhaj. I want to teach you guys a word. It's called shamata. I'm going to say it, you say it. Shamata. Shamata. Come on now. Shamata. Shamata. Good job. One more time. Shamata. Shamata. Shamata is when a misfortune befalls someone, you get happy. They get divorced, you happy. He get in a car crash with his new car, you're happy. His son gets kicked out of school, you're happy. His son get locked up, you're happy. Daughter get pregnant out of wedlock, you're happy. Have a baby, it's stillbirth, you're happy. That's shamata. To be happy at someone else's misfortune. Prophet Muhammad described the believers. He says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتلاطفهم كمثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى سائر الجسد بالحمى والسهر. The believers and their love for one another, their concern for one another, their mercy towards one another is like a single body. If one part of the body aches, the rest of the body suffers from sleeplessness and from fever. You don't have a headache and then your arm and your leg and your feet say, oh, that's my head's problem. You got a headache, you got to lay down, incapacitate your whole body. That's how the believers are. She's having a difficult time in her pregnancy. We have to go there to help her, feed her food, take her babies, look out for her. We don't have the sister in the hospital about to have a baby and her friend is getting to know her husband. Why the sister is going to have a baby. That's our ummah, guys. That's our ummah. That's our ummah. We have shamata, man. Not only just with our Muslim brothers and sisters, with our own blood brothers and sisters, our own relatives. This Generation X, these kids, grow up with this fighting each other, arguing each other. They can't share the laptop. They can't talk to each other with respect. They just fighting. Big one fighting the little one, girl fighting the boy. They just fighting. And then when they go with their friends, it's all love. It's all love. It's all love. This is the time we're living in. And that's why I'm trying to tell you guys, since I've been in Jamaica, I've had a really nice experience. But there is something that is really inside my central nervous system. And that is this stuff that some of these brothers are on. It's really disturbing. This is a serious thing we're dealing with right now in the dunya, and we ain't got nothing but time to be against each other. It's sad. But it is what it is. And Allah is al-Hakim, and Allah Ta'ala will do what's known as tamhees. Tamhees is like when you have a sifter, and you do like this, and the junk comes out, and the good stays. أَحَسِبُ النَّاسِ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Do the people think they're going to say, I believe, and not be tried? We tried those people who came before you, so that Allah would know who are the true believers and who are not. So that sifting has to take place. Some people, when it comes to kalam, women, weak people, they said this, they said that, they want to leave Islam. They want to turn back on their heels. But some people ain't made from that cloth. Some people ain't cut from that cloth. Some people cut from the cloth where they'll meet you at the door. Meet you at the door and say, come on, man, let's deal with the situation. Because I know you ain't a man. You're just lying. You're lying. You're playing games. This thing is real. What thing I'm talking about? The dunya, man. This life. Now, I'm going to end with this. I look around this room. Somebody from amongst us is going to be the first one to die from amongst us. And someone here is going to be the last person to die. And in between that, everybody else is checking out as well. Who's going to be the first person to die from amongst us? Somebody is going to be. And when that time comes, the question is, how are you going to meet Allah? With he said, she said, Kilo Akan. He said, she said. He said it, she didn't say it. Richard Pryor said it. Eddie Murphy said it. How important is that in the reality of learning this dua? Not just the words, but the meaning of this dua. Because wallahi, we're really going fast. We're going fast. So this is the dua we wanted to share, especially with you sisters. I chose this dua strictly for you sisters. I want to apologize. It's just my vernacular when I say, you guys, listen. I don't mean guys in a disrespectful way. That's just, what I'm just saying. But this khutbah, this class, this dua, I'm sharing it with you sisters because I want you to go back, try to memorize this dua and pay attention to your friend. Pay attention to who you think your friend is. Because 9 times out of 10, you're lying to yourself. Your friend is that person who, if you needed a kidney, your friend will step up to the pump and say, you can have mine. Because she loves you like that. He loves you like that. When he sees a good thing of you, they don't want people to know about that. They see a bad thing about you, they spread it. I'm giving da'wah to Allah. It's bound for me to say something that's a mistake. It's bound to happen. It's bound to happen that I'm going to make a mistake. My brothers, my sisters, when I make a mistake, I gave a khutbah recently, and I said in that khutbah about the ulama, respect the scholars, respect the scholars. I said the scholars, when we do bad to the scholars, it's like doing bad to the prophet. The scholars are the inheritors of the prophet. They're like the prophets. You know what I mean when I say that. You know what I mean. But your enemy takes that and says, Abu Usama is saying that the prophets and the scholars are equal. He doesn't even know prophets are better than scholars. That's not my friend. If he sees a mistake, he wants everybody to know about it. But if Abu Usama, this is just an example, you put yourself in his place. If you do something good, they don't want to let nobody know about that. That's the nature of the people, man. So fear Allah Azza wa Jal, my sisters, and we make dua to all of you that you guys become the true handmaidens of Allah, the handmaidens of Allah, like the Prophet used to say to the men. Don't stop the handmaidens of Allah from going to the masajid of Allah. They got to go and pray. They're the handmaidens of Allah. The handmaiden is the girl, the lady who takes care of you at the house and stuff like that. The servants of Allah. May Allah Azza wa Jal help you, sisters, in the jihad that you have to do as it relates to your husbands, as it relates to the children, as it relates to just existing, as it relates to the mental jihad you guys have to make and all of that. May Allah give you the strength and the wherewithal to be mujahidat, salihat, mu'minat, and may He establish you firmly in truth on the sunnah, give you control of your tongues, and give you knowledge about the religion to be able to navigate in the reality of what we're dealing with. All right, that's all I wanted to put forward. We'll take 2 questions. No. Sparky is the boss with the hot sauce. I gotta let him determine what we're gonna do. What's the program, Sparky?
It's a quick question. Why does the woman have to get less than the man financially?
Why does the woman get? Why does the woman, when it comes to inheritance, why does she get less than the man?
Work-wise.
Work-wise?
As you said, the men should earn more money than the woman.
Why should men make more money than women in terms of our careers? Because that's the sunnah of Allah. Sunnatullah fil ladhina khalu min qabl wa lan tajidu li sunnatillahi tabdila. It's the sunnah of Allah. Even with the people who went before, you will never find the sunnah of Allah any change in it. Why does the man make? Because the ayat, الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. Men are the maintainers and the protectors and the providers over the women, because Allah has given them a level and a degree above the women, and because of what they spend on those women. So it's the responsibility of the Muslim man to provide for his wife's housing, clothing, nurturing, protection, all of her essential needs in this dunya. That man has to go out, punch that clock in, make his own business, and come back with that dough. Take care of his wife. She doesn't have to worry about the rent. She doesn't have to worry about having a car, taking a bus. That's the man's responsibility. Now, if she's helping with that, if she's providing more, if she's making more, it's not haram. But the sunnah of Allah is that the men are over the women. And that's his responsibility. And that's why the lady, he has those rights over her. She has to listen to him. He tells her what things she has to listen to him. I don't want you hanging out with that sister. I don't want that person. She has to listen to him, and not the other way around. So that's the reason why. Tfaddal ya akhi. Abdullah.
Okay, so assalamu alaikum. So brother, what I want to ask you is that in relations to a sister already working, and many of these sisters, I would say that are a bit feminist or are feminists in the sense where they believe in independence. This is what their core belief structure is all about, and they believe in making their own, which is okay based on the standards of Islam. Like Khadija radiallahu anha, who was wealthy, and she was married to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which that was not a problem in that case because she was already established a wealthy woman, and the Prophet married her. Right? Peace be upon him. So I'm saying that in relations to a woman who naturally makes more than her husband, but still if her husband would spend on her, would that be though she makes more than him?
No, I just said a few minutes ago, if a woman makes more money than her husband, there's nothing that's haram about that, and it is not inherently evil. And a proof of that is what you just said. Khadija radiallahu anha had more money than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and from her free will, she gave him money. She employed him, and he made money and married her, and he became responsible for her money. But you use the word feminine. Khadija, feminist. He says women, some women, Muslim women, feminists. They want to be independent. This thing about Khadija is very important. Khadija, if you read about her, radiallahu anha, Khadija was a strong woman in her personality. But do any of us get an image, a vision that she had a three-piece suit on with a briefcase, with Stacey Adams shoes? Is that the picture you get? That Khadija's in the marketplace telling people, yo, put that over there, and you bring that over here. Hey, is that the picture you get? You don't get that picture of her. We get the picture of a strong woman with a personality who supported her husband, said all of the right things at the right time, used her money to support the family and so forth and so on. Never put her husband down because of the money. But look what her husband was bringing to the table. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the sunnah, he brought so much to the table that even if she had all the money in the world, it wouldn't equal what he's bringing to the table. It wouldn't equal all of what he's bringing to the table. You dig what I'm saying? So I always tell my sons all the time, listen. Don't come here telling me you want to marry a sister who you're looking up to her. Meaning, not she's 6'4" and you're 5'10". No, you're looking up to her socially. She got more money than you. She, just her personality is stronger than yours. It's permissible. A woman is married for four things. Limaliha, for her money. Lijamali, her beauty. Wanesebiha, her lineage. So she married for her money. So maybe he's going to marry a lady got a lot of money. And that's another thing, Akhi, is the fitrah. If one of us got an opportunity to marry a rich woman from a rich family, that family that owns sandals here in Jamaica, Stewarts, I think, the sister accepted Islam and came and said, hey, I want to marry that one. We're going to say, brother, you better not marry that lady. She got too much money. We're going to say, brother, you better marry that sister and help the community, man. But in marrying her, you can expect some challenges. You can't be a bum and you expect to say, I don't want you going to the prime minister's wedding. I don't want you going to the prime minister. She's going to look at you and say, what? What do you mean you don't want me to go to the function at the prime minister's, what are you talking about? She won't listen to that. And Allah knows best. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that the sunnah is men should be responsible for their women. Sisters, do you have any questions before we close this out and lock this up? Did it keep working? Kept working? My man Naeem.
So are you saying, I think what I'm getting it from what you're saying. And it might not be right, but this is what I'm getting. If a sister has more money than her husband, and then financially.
Excuse me, you're not here in the morning, but this is a sister session. Not here in the morning.
Not hearing for you.
And it's a sister session.
We'll come back to the sisters. It's the brother's turn right now. Go ahead, brother.
We're not hearing them.
But I'm going to let you hear him, sister, by Allah. I'm going to let you hear him. We got to relax. We have family up in here. I said just a few minutes ago, in closing, this talk is for you, sisters. I let everybody know that's for you. Is there any questions? I waited for the sisters. They didn't give any questions. So I went to the brothers. And then I stopped, two brothers. I said, sisters, you got anything? Nothing. My brothers, and so we asked the question. Now I say, we're going to come to you, sister. You say to me that, well, you can't hear. Okay, I'm going to repeat the question for you because this is for you and the sisters. Go ahead, my brother. Naeem.
The concern is, it's not really a question, it's just a concern. Are you saying that, sister, because he just alluded to it just now in that example with the stewards and the brother who could hypothetically, you know, getting married to somebody of that stature, and she doesn't have to. I found what you relate that she's questioning whether or not she should not go to a function that her husband who's telling her not to.
Yeah, the brother is saying, like in that example that I gave concerning the lady who comes from a rich family, whatever that family may be, she marries a person who doesn't have any means, and he doesn't bring much to the table, and he married a rich woman for her money. That rich woman is in the upper echelons of society. The prime minister's daughter is going to get married, or some dignitary is coming to Jamaica, and the prime minister, the steward, that rich lady family is going to that function. Her husband says to his rich wife, I don't want you going. She shouldn't go because she should listen to her husband, normally speaking. But he should be ready to accept that a lady who's in that level of society may say to him, what are you talking about? I'm not going. So he should have considered when he married her what he was getting into, because the possibility and probability of her doing things and saying things because of independence may not always go in line with the woman who her husband is taking care of her from top to bottom. So whenever they get into an argument, the lady and the husband who's paying all the rent and everything, she's not going to say, get out of my house, because the house belongs to him. The house belongs, doesn't mean she's weak. She's a queen in that house. She's important in that house. So I was just giving an example of the whole spectrum. Okay, my sisters, we'll give the rest of the time to all of you sisters. If you want to just write the question, you may be shy. Here's the paper. Here you go. Give that to them. Here you go. Like whose baby is that? I can't hear her.
She said something. She's trying to say something.
Go ahead, sister. I'm sorry we didn't hear you.
I mentioned three questions whose will not be answered.
Yes.
You only elaborate on one, so you do that.
Good job, sister. You're my favorite student in this whole session. I like those kind of questions because those kind of questions show that you're harisa on trying to know the rest of the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Although I only mentioned one for the sake of time, you want to know what's the other one so I can be careful not being from them. And that's how the companions were. And that's a Salafiyah. I'm going to tell you, when the companions would see something from the Prophet, they would ask, Rasulullah, what makes you smile? Ya Rasulullah, what made you laugh? What made you angry? Ya Rasulullah, may my mother and my father be sacrificed. Why did you refuse to come into the house? Any subtle thing that he did, they would ask about it. Like that girl, that sister right there. He said Allah Ta'ala will not answer the dua of a person who is married to a bad woman. And he will not answer the dua of a person who gives a loan to someone, a debt to someone, and he doesn't write it down. So if someone borrows money from you and you give him the loan, the longest ayat of the Quran is in Surah Al-Baqarah. And that ayat is Surah Dain. The ayat to Dain, the ayat of the debt. And Allah Ta'ala mentioned, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha tadayantum bainakum faktubuha. Oh, you who believe, if you do a debt between you, write it down. And let the one who gave the debt, the one who took the debt, the one who took it, I borrow from you. I, Abu Sama, borrow from brother Luqman 2,000 pounds. I'm going to pay him back at the beginning of August. And then he signs it, and that paper comes to Luqman. If the one who took the dame dies, he goes to his family and say, the dude owes me money. Where's the proof? Where's the dalil? Not the sheikh said, not just your kalam. Where's the dalil? He owes you money. Here's the paper right here with his penmanship, his writing. This is his writing. And I got 2 witnesses. Allah won't answer his dua if he doesn't do that. And the ayat of the Quran said, and let him write it down no matter how big or how small. So Allah Azza wa Jal won't write it, won't accept it. Number 3, Allah Azza wa Jal will not accept the dua of a person who is responsible for the money of orphans. His nephew, his niece, he's in an orphan home or whatever, and he's the executioner of that orphan's wealth. Allah said in Surah An-Nisa, لا تؤتوا السفهاء أموالكم التي جعل الله لكم فيها قياما. Do not give the foolish people who Allah put you in charge of their money, don't give them a lot of money because they don't appreciate it. They can't understand it. They're going to waste it. And you're responsible for the waste of that money. The kid doesn't know the value of money. Your 15, 13, 12-year-old kid doesn't know, like you got an ex-wife, you got to take care of your kids. You don't want to give the money to the wife because you mad at her. You want to give it straight to the kid. Kid is 12, 13 years old. You give him $200-$300, 300 pounds, because you don't want to give it to the mother. He doesn't know the value of that. She's going to go and get a wig that costs that much money. The wig is haram and it costs $300. I'm not laughing. I saw a lot of wigs here. So what you have to do is give them the money according to what they can, according to their age. So those are the 3 people. The one who's in charge of the wealth of an orphan, and he gives them the money they shouldn't. Allah won't answer your dua. Number 2, the debt. Allah won't answer the dua. Number 3, the man who is married to a woman, very bad woman. Not my wife, not your wife, not any of these women here. Really, really bad woman. Really bad, really bad. Not your husband, not this one, a really, really bad man. You got to get out of that relationship. Go ahead, sisters. The rest of the time is for you. Sister, take this paper. Maybe some of the sisters want to write. It's okay. You take your left hands. Okay, you got the little bambino with you. Yes, sister. Go ahead, my sister.
It is of some scholars' opinion that when the Rasul married to Khadija, that it's not from the Sunnah that a man marries a woman who is more wealthy, and that is not an example of the Prophet's marriage. I told that to one of them. So that's enough example to use from the Rasul. Could you expound on that a bit?
Can you say that? He says some of the scholars said that it is not from the Sunnah for a man to marry a woman with more money.
No. At the time when the Rasul married to Khadija, it was not from the Sunnah because it was not. Islam did not come at that time. So his marriage to Khadija radiallahu anha is not considered as being the Sunnah. That's one. The second thing is that.
Hold on, I got to go one at a time if you don't mind. The sister is saying that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam married Khadija, may Allah be pleased with her, before al-Islam, before he was a Nabi and a Rasul. So you cannot say, the scholars say, you cannot say that it's from this, you can't use that as an example of a man marrying a woman who had more money.
Right.
But the answer to that is, although the Prophet did not marry her as a Rasul at that time, he became a Rasul. And he was married to her as a Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah Ta'ala allowed that situation to remain the way it was. And Allah Ta'ala said in the Quran, Allahu a'lamu haythu yaj'alu risalata. A messenger. Allah knows what he was doing when he sent his message, ar-risala. So he let Rasulullah come from he was an orphan. Allah knew what he was doing. Allah let Rasulullah come from Quraysh. Allah allowed Prophet Muhammad to be married to a woman who had means and finances before he became a Nabi. So that's from the Rasul, a prophet. So that's from the wisdom of Allah. So the fact that he married her and he continued to be with her in that condition, we use that as a dalil. Put that on the side. Those other adillah, proofs that we said. A woman is married for 4 reasons. One of those reasons, she's married for her wealth. Men marry women for their wealth. So a man can marry a sister because she got a lot of money. And we know people who did that. The other thing, number three is issues like this. Everything in the dunya, everything is a dunya in the dunya is permissible. Unless that which the dalil comes and says is haram. And there's no dalil, there's no proof saying a man can't marry a woman of means. So it's something that is we say it's the sunnah. You're not going to make a big deal out of that issue, but Allah allowed the Prophet to be married till all that time after the fact. Yes, my sister, go ahead.
So the hadith that they use to contradict that contradicts that, is when a man came to Rasul and said, can I marry that woman for beauty and her wealth? And the Rasul said no. And he asked 3 times, and the Rasul said no. Marry a younger person so you can procreate. So that hadith contradicts, that is what the person said to me, and it actually contradicts what I just asked you.
I appreciate that, sister. The reality of that hadith is, I can't say it's weak, because I never heard it in my life, but we have access to these mobile phones. That's why I say, guys, sit and fact check stuff right now. This hadith, it sounds very suspicious and suspect. So the one who's making this claim has to produce this hadith. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to say that hadith, we didn't hear it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We didn't hear it, but we know the hadith that's opposite to that we know refutes that. The one we just said, a woman is married for 4 reasons. And then he said she's married for money, for her beauty, for her lineage, and for her deen. He said, فَظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ تَرَبَتْ يَدَاكَ. Marry the woman for her deen, you'll be successful. You'll be successful. Marry the one for a religion, and you'll be successful. As for the hadith that you're mentioning, we will ask you, inshallah, before we vacate this spot, if that sister can produce that hadith for you easily with this mobile phone, we'll take it after that. May Allah bless you. What's the next question, my sister? Can someone sit here so you could tell me what that sister is? I can't really hear. Just sit here. Right here. So,
brother, you mentioned love. You can marry for love, and we've been taught that you can't love somebody unless you're married to them. But you can't marry somebody for a man don't have to have money to marry to a woman, because you can marry for different reasons. But the woman that man not need money, but she may need help, she may need guidance, support, a mahram, and so on. So those mothers are not encouraged to marry to women around because they believe they don't know if it's a Western thing, but they believe that the man is not good enough or man enough if the woman earns more than that. And this is that general Jamaican kind of mentality that if the woman earns more than the man, that she is going to rule it, which doesn't.
She's what?
The man has to, in order to feel like a man, he has to earn more than the woman. We have to say right here, right now, every group of people, they have their own, their sunnahs, the way they are. Jamaican people, men and women, the society here, they have their own stuff. African Americans have that. Everybody has that. Arabs have that. Some of it is good, some of it is not good. The religion is what makes the balance for us. It's the religion. African Americans have a lot of good qualities about themselves as a people, a race, and a lot of bad ones. We have to leave off the bad ones and take the good ones. And if someone were to criticize our people and the bad ones, I can't get mad at that if it's the truth.
And same thing for Arabs and Pakistanis and Jamaicans. So if a woman has money, I said it is not inherently evil that she has more money than her husband. She'll be an honorable woman to have money. She's still making money. And still can have a functional, constructive, positive, progressive relationship. So what the society is doing, this is our responsibility as a society to tackle these things, these misunderstandings and the stuff that exists between us. But what Islam says is clear when we deal with it. And it's always wisdom, mercy, justice, and all that stuff. We can't superimpose our feelings on the religion, people who do that. So in Jamaica, other than Jamaica, in most places I would think many men would be intimidated by a woman who has a lot of money. Many men, not all men. Some men know how to deal with that. They look for something like that. You know, some people do that. And that can happen, no doubt, in a positive, functional way. No doubt. Go ahead, my sister. And I think you said something about love. And that's true. Love has the tendency of transcending things like that. The man can be 25 years old and the sister can be 40, 45, 50, 60 years old. And they are what do you call them? Soulmates. They are soulmates. The lady can be very, very, very tall and the man can be very, very short. But they got that love, compatibility, and respect. And they are soulmates. He could be black, she could be white, all of that. But what they can't be is, she can't be a Muslim, or he'd be a kafir. It can't be that. And even if there was love in that, that's toxic, unless that man becomes a Muslim. Go ahead, my sister. Any more questions, my sister? We're gonna close this out. Okay, brothers, we're gonna stop there, inshallah. May Allah bless all of you, bless all of the sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa barakallahu fikum wa sallamakumullah min kulli su'in makruh. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace be upon you. Peace and God. Bless you. Thank you for attending. Hope that you benefited and apply this one.
So now we're going to bring the chair over here with Tony is going to accept Islam. You ready now, T? You see how you stay? See how you stay? Stuff.